Hey guys, this is Tauna, and today we have two Storm decks. I'm going to be showing you my Storm deck that's built around extra combats and everything like that. This one is going to be a $100 budget brew, minus the cost of the secret lair. So I wanted to make sure that, we include all the secret lair cards, whether you're going to be purchasing them or whether you're going to be proxying them or whatever you're going to be doing, building the deck outside of that for a budget of $100 US. So I wanted to make sure that, we had that budget there so we didn't go too crazy, and it's going to be built around like extra combats and kind of getting a whole bunch of damage in and making use of this potential storm upon storm upon storm, just make a huge storm spell and then just go out with like a big bang. So we got that one there, and then we've also got my brother's Slime Storm, which we're going to talk about that. That's crazy. For a start, my brother is awful at keeping a budget when he's brewing. This one here ended up being like, what, $300 US. So just kind of keep that in mind. Like, if you want to get it, you could, if you've got the cards, you can get the cards. You want to purchase the cards, purchase them. If you want to, whatever, proxy them, go ahead. Before we get into either of these two though, a couple things. First of all, these videos are all out of order. I know that I said in my Iron Man video that's not going to be out by now, that I still had other ones that was coming and stuff. Like, I'm going all over the place with these because I'm kind of releasing them based off of what you guys wanted and stuff. So everyone's asking for this Slime Storm deck, and I bullied my brother into finishing up what he is doing so we can show you. And then the second thing here is make sure you subscribe. We are so close to our goal of, 10,000 subscribers. We're almost 8,000 at the moment. I'm recording all these videos in advance at the moment because we are going to be renovating in here or building a whole bunch of new furniture, moving everything around. We're going to be fixing the lighting. We're going to be doing a whole bunch of stuff. I am so excited. Next year, we're going to be going bonkers with the channel. I'm going to be having more free time that I can work on for it as the kids are off at, daycare and stuff. It's going to be really crazy. All right, so let's get into the Storm decks. So the first one here we're going to be talking about is Storm, and this one is the extra combat one. So this is my budget brew one. So we've got Storm, obviously. I'll talk about what she does first. So she essentially makes it so that after you deal combat damage with her, so that means you actually have to be in the combat phase, attacking a person, get through and hit them. The next instant or sorcery you cast this turn has Storm. So a couple of things here. You don't need to cast the instant and sorcery straight away. You can cast other stuff before you cast that, even after combat. It's just the next instant or sorcery spell that you cast after. You could also cast them prior to combat, which is, something that is really great to do. There's just a whole bunch of different ways that you can make this work really well. And she works insanely well for this. Mine's kind of like a mixture between like a little bit of +1 stuff. I'll just go through it. All right, so starting with our artifacts here, we've got like stuff to give us haste. We've got Glam's Ring to allow us to be able to cast a spell for free whenever she deals combat damage. So with that, you can do a lot, as well as, you could stack the triggers. So you're casting those and then casting whatever, like getting her proc on the stack. So just make it so that you cast stuff prior to getting her proc on the stack, as well as it buffs her up, her damage. We got like the normal kind of mana rocks here, another instant cast with Key to the Vault, giving her land walk, non-basic land walk, so you can get those hits in, because we don't want to get blocked is the big thing. We want to make sure that she gets unblockable. So we've got a little bit of stuff to make her kind of unblockable with this. Helm of the Host is really great too. It's going to make it so that we have another Storm. Now these triggers will stack. So if you have one Storm that deals, combat damage twice, and then another one that deals it once, then the next spell you cast will have Storm, Storm, Storm. That's what we're aiming for, is getting huge amount of extra storms off. So for our creatures, we've got like the Triton Wavebreaker here to buff her up, to give her prowess, because I figured, we're going to be casting stuff anyway. Kedis is insane in this because it's going to make it so you're dealing combat damage to 3 people at once. Now, if we have Lizard Blade attached, that means we're dealing combat damage 6 times, which means the next spell you cast is going to be Storm, 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 Storm. Insane. We've got the Enduring Cycle because I wanted to have, these a haste enabler and, the draw cards and stuff but I felt like having blockers as well was good. So we could bring those in, they die, then we bring them back as enchantments. Forgotten Ancient to allow us to buff her up. And Helena and Elena is really great with this because it's at the beginning of combat, right? We're going to have multiple beginning of combat phases because of the fact that we're going to be trying to get multiple combats. We want a whole bunch of additional combats, and they're going to buff up our Storm huge. Port Razor gets us additional combats. Neheb gets us a whole bunch of extra mana after in our post-combat main phases after, we deal damage. We've got Xenagos here. Also, this is opponents have lost this turn, so it stacks, right? So the first post-combat main phase, you'll have some, and then the second one, you'll have even more. And then that you can use to do extra stuff. Like, for example, it doesn't work with the Hellkite Charger because that's like after combat. But if you go from your post-combat main phase and then have another combat phase after that, then it would work with the Hellkite Charger. We've got Xenagos here to just, give our Storm, stack our Storm up, doubling her power each time. Aggravated Assault is insane with this because we're going to be able to untap everything and then do an additional main combat phase. An additional combat phase and then additional main phase. So that's the one that works really well with Neheb. And then we can use, the Hellkite Charger there too. Additional ways to make her unblockable or untap all our lands, double her power each time we attack. Invigorating Hot Springs. I wanted to have a haste enabler for her. And this is a really, really cheap haste enabler to kind of keep us below that 100 one. So as for our instance, we've got a lot of very cheap instants to get a whole bunch of procs up on her. Team of Battle Rage is crazy here to give her Trample, and Trample's really great here to make sure that we're dealing that combat damage. Savage Beating is the first of our instant non-combat our instant combat phases. So we storm off with this, right? And then from there, you're going to be able to get 5 additional combat phases maybe. And then after that, maybe you've got another card that you can get additional combat phases with. There's so many different ways you can make use of this. Now, most of those are going to be in our sorceries, right? Relentless Assault, Overpowering Attack, Fury of the Horde, all additional combat phases. So all of those are really great. Fury of the Horde is actually crazy because of the fact that the cost for it is just exile 2 red cards from your hand. So with it, you don't need to even have mana up after dealing damage at the dealing combat damage, and then you can storm off with it. Mana Geyser is really great here too, because of the fact that if you storm it off and then use all that mana, pump that into the aggravated assault or something. Slip through space is really great. Make it so we can't be blocked and draw a card. Distortion Strike, make it so we can't be blocked, get +1. But then this also has rebound. So then in your next upkeep, you're going to be able to cast it again for free, already making a Storm count up to 1. We've got Grape Shot in here because, having Storm on top of a spell that already has Storm is pretty crazy. Fangs of Calonia, because of the fact that we can storm it off, is really great. Ice Storm and Jeska's Will are both in the original kind of secret lair there, so they're really great to have. You could also have Irenicus Vile Duplication, whether you're going to storm it off or just use it so that way you have 2 storms. More storms, the better. I always say that, I love Storm, and she's just an amazing character. So I really love this idea of just storming your, storming either a whole bunch of mana to pump it into Aggravated Assault or into Hellkite Charger. Unfortunately, with Hellkite Charger, it's a bit hard because of the fact that mana is required for combat. But if you stack that with Nature's Will, you're going to untap all your lands from it. Or Bear Umbra. Untap all your lands, and then at instant speed, tap your lands down, and then use Hellkite Charger to, get additional ones. So you have to use Bear Umbra because Nature's Will is from combat damage. So unless you had 2 combat phases already, there's multiple ways to be able to do it and to be able to make Hellkite Charger work either way. But it's also just a cheap way to be able to get repeatable additional combat phases. So really, really great and really fun. Like I love combat. So I am really happy with like the build that I've got here to get a whole lot of additional combats going off with Storm and just have her be the queen, the force of nature that she should be. Now, if you want to go the other route, so my brother labeled this deck as like, what was it? Essentially Storm X Glob. If you don't know who Glob is in Marvel, this is Glob. Glob Herman. Yeah. Oh man. Catsath, what are you doing? So he has built a deck here that is all around getting a whole bunch of slimes against humanity going. So you've got Storm, and you know a big part about this is dealing that combat damage with Storm, so that way your slime against humanity have, you know, Storm. So getting additional ones of those out going. So making it so it's cheaper to cast. So he's got like, you know, Locket of Yesterdays there. We've got like the Talismans. We've got Emerald Medallion here. We've got a bunch of different ways to essentially make use of the fact that we're going to be casting multiple of these Slime Against Humanities. Because I should probably go show you what Slime does to start with. So Slime Against Humanity is create a 0/0 green ooze creature token with trample. It gets X +1/+1 counters on it, where X is 2 plus the total number of cards you own in exile or in your graveyard that are oozes or are named Slime Against Humanity. So if you've cast Slime Against Humanity twice, and say, for example, you've got 2 in exile 2, that means you've got 4 there, plus 2, that means that each of them will come in with 6 +1/+1s. So it's essentially building up this huge army of slimes. And then we're going to make use of them in a whole bunch of different ways, whether we're going to use them to deck people out with Altar of Dementia, or even the thing is that you can mill yourself here to get more Slimes Against Humanity into your graveyard, so that way when you cast them they're just bigger. Phyrexian Altar to sacrifice them for mana. Thrumming Stone makes it so that each of them have Ripple, which means you're going to reveal the top 4 cards of your library, then you can cast spells with the same name as that spell from among them without paying their mana cost. So you know, you cast Slime Against Humanity, you ripple for 4, and then you see if you get another one in there, and then you get to cast it again. And then, you know, when you cast it, then do it again, and essentially get a whole bunch of them cast at once. Same with Rod of Absorption. That's going to put all your Slimes Against Humanity into exile. Keep in mind that it still works off of exile, so you're still getting that use. And then you can sacrifice it to cast all of them again. Really crazy. He's got a whole bunch of creatures in here that are either reductions for the casting cost, giving you prowess with like Bria, making it so that the slimes can't be blocked with Herald of Secret Streams here. We've got ways to be able to draw cards when they enter, or just to be able to create a whole bunch of treasures to make it work easier. We've also got Jin Jitaxis in here because my brother is doing some crazy stuff here. He's making it so that you're drawing more cards, and then when you exile him and bring him back, you're then going to be able to draw a whole bunch of extra cards, bounce everything back to people's hands, and then cast any number of spells from your hands without paying their mana cost. So now all of a sudden you're going in, you're bringing Storm back on, you're going to go attack with Storm, and then from there you're going to be able to cast, you know, let's say 5 Slimes Against Humanity because you drew that many, each of them having additional storms, and because you cast all the other stuff first, and then boom, 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 boom. Well, only one of them has storm, but you build up a huge storm before you cast it. Crazy stuff. Winged Hive Tyrant here is to give all your slimes flying and haste as well, so that way you can swing them. The win cons in here are basically just casting a huge amount of slimes, and then you've got like All Will Be One, Warstorm Surge, as I said, like Winged Hive Tyrant, just getting a whole bunch of value from having them out or them entering, essentially, which is really, really interesting. Pyromatic Ascension is going to make it so that you get to cast copy. You get to copy your Slime Against Humanity as well. We've got Temur Ascendancy to draw cards, as well as giving them haste. The tribute to the world tree, giving them all additional +1s or draw cards, depending on how big they are. It'll be draw cards, right? Yeah, it'll be draw cards. And then your instance, giving yourself mill or just mill somebody out, depending on how you want to use it. We've got like fact or fiction to chuck stuff into the graveyard, you know, a bunch of card draw and stuff in here. Your lands, he's only got 32 lands because it's a relatively low kind of mana cost, essentially, like, you know, mana across the deck. And for his sorceries, as I said, like Slime Against Humanity is the main one here, right? Like this is 18 Slime Against Humanities that are on here. And it takes up, you can have any number of them. He's got 18. You could put more in, put less in, depending on how you're feeling. Slip Through Space, he's got it in here as well. Enter the Enigma is another new one that's really great. Essentially the same card, right? One's just devoid and one's blue. Yeah. Mizzix's Mastery, to exile them and then exile all of them from your graveyard and then cast them again if you've milled yourself or whatever. Cut Through the Losses to mill someone, either yourself or someone else, right? You could either mill yourself to get your slimes into the graveyard, or you could use it with Storm to deck someone out, which would be a really, really funny way to kind of win. He has built, honestly, this is why we let my brother cook, because he's built a very crazy, interesting Storm deck. I'm honestly very tempted to build this and then not quite to the much as he's built it, and then take the like Slime Against Humanity and like make a reskin of Glob for him, because that's just I'd love to hear from you guys as to what you think. I'll put the links to both of these down in the description if you want to check them out. I hope you guys had a wonderful day, and I will be making more videos and stuff, and we're going to be fixing up the lights and stuff like that. I'm so excited. So make sure you guys subscribe. We'll try and hit our 8,000. Oh, look at that, 2 more subs since I started this video. Have a great day and goodbye.